Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to a very special edition of Thirsty Thursday Sense and Nonsense. First of all, it's not on Thursday, but, just think of it as when they have a special edition of Sunday Night Football that's on Thursday. It obviously can't be, but they don't want to call it Thursday Night Football because it's actually Sunday Night Football, and they have the announcers there that are Sunday Night Football. So let's think of it that way. And let's think of it as in the holiday spirit. And also, it was time for a Thirsty Thursday, but we all know what Thirsty Thursday is this week. It's Christmas Eve. And so nobody's going to listen to this damn thing on Christmas Eve. So, and many people do listen to it. So let's give you're going to be with your family, or what would you be doing? Hey, I can't open up some presents because I want to listen to Thirsty Thursday. I don't think that's going to go over big, but on Wednesday you can do it.
Wide open.
And then maybe on Friday later on you can do it, or whenever you want to do it. Whenever you want to do this particular thing. Joe has got his notebook ready. We're in the festive season. I have a Rare Monk's Wit Ale, which is, I'm going to take another sip here, on microphone. It's really damn good. I'll probably try the dark one in the second half of this particular event. We don't know where this is going. Usually it is taken in a certain direction because of the fact check. So we'll get it rolling next. And what I probably need you to do, because you're probably going to need a refill too, is that I brought a little Christmas cheer for Joe. and it's something that he hasn't, it's his brand, I know, because I talked to his wife, but it's a little bit of a different version. So maybe we'll do that too. Does that sound good? He's not allowed to speak. This is like a mute. It's like a mime in the opening segment, not allowed to speak. But he will speak next. He will start things off right after this.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
It's time now to get some great assistance on healthcare with Chad Beisel from NoNonsenseHealthCareNinja.com. And Chad, even your business's name would indicate that you have a real aggressive way and an important way to go after some health insurance for your clients.
What I've found out in the industry is just a lot of people are really confused. They don't know what plans are good, what their plans offer, how they cover. And so I've just taken the approach of being really educated on what options are available to clients and showing them all the options that are available and making sure they understand them so they can pick and choose what options are good for them.
And one thing that's really important, of course, is access to doctors and hospitals.
Absolutely. That's becoming a big issue for a lot of people. Some of the plans out there are going to restrict those clients to where they can and cannot go. So if you live just outside the Kansas City metro, some of the counties outside, you may not be able to go to some of the hospitals up here in the Kansas City area. So making sure that you have a plan that's got doctors and hospitals and places you want to go is really, really important today.
Learn more by visiting NoNonsenseHealthCareNinja.com and let Chad help you. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the pure gold oil. And recently I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new Smart Laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Well, ho, 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 Danny. We are back with the fact check.
Yes, we are. Now, technically, I have to do this because this is Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday this time around, presented by Cinematic Visions. So I want to give proper credit to Jeremy Wood and his fine company. I often do some podcasting from his particular location. So make sure if you've got anything in the creating videos, fantastic videos. If you've seen a couple that I've done, he does great work and does great work across the board in many things, social media and everything else. So Cinematic Visions, your spot. But the floor is yours, Mr. Joe.
Well, Danny,
I almost made a horrid mistake.
I got my Patty Icicles Christmas shirt on here.
Yeah,
Christmas
with the Mahomies.
That's right, with my ho-ho homies.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those around. Not those. I mean, there's just so many Mahomies, 15.
I know.
I mean, I remember when I went to Barcelona in 2018. After walking around Barcelona for one day, I said, I know that Lionel Messi is maybe the highest paid athlete in the world.
Mm-hmm.
He's freaking underpaid. I mean, everything there was Messi. People are making so much money off of Messi. You think you've seen a lot of 15s? Messi jerseys, like racks and racks and racks and baby clothes and everything else.
Well, he scored a record-breaking goal this week. Did you see that? He's the most goals scored. What was the exact?
I don't know exactly. He's got so many records.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this beer first.
Oh,
because friend of the podcast, Dr. B.J. Miller, bought us these. This is a monk's ale. So supposedly these are beers that are actually brewed by monks. And they're only selling it at one liquor store in Kansas City so far.
I really didn't even know, to be honest, that there kind of still were monks. I don't know why they would have gone away, but, it's not like you're really sort of familiar with it as you were back in olden times.
Well, they're very unassuming people. So
they are.
I'm going to give the dark one a try here.
Okay. Well, I'm going to switch up and do that in the second part.
That is really good.
It is good. It's very
Holy
good.
moly. Okay, so on to the fact check, sir. Okay. Last time we were talking a little bit about newspapers, and you said that a tabloid newspaper is called a tabloid newspaper because of the way that it's folded and the way that it opens.
I don't know if that's why it's called that, but...
Well, that's what you said, and you were correct.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought you were full of crap.
No, I knew that that's what every tabloid newspaper was, that it folded open and there were no sections to it, but I didn't know if that was why it was called that.
That's what it takes to be a tabloid newspaper. You have to be of a compact page size, smaller than a broadsheet.
Aha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's really not that many. I mean, it's basically the same kind of thing as if you get your local, grocery, the local lawn care thing or whatever. That's just a smaller version of a tabloid, basically.
Yeah, the Johnson County whatever.
Right, Reader or whatever it is.
So Dick Vermeil, we talked about the movie Invincible. And Dick
Vince
Vermeil.
Papali.
Yes. And Dick Vermeil in that movie was played by, do you remember his name now this time?
Go ahead. I don't want to work that hard. He's a good actor.
It's Greg Kinnear.
Of course.
Of course it was,
Wonderful
right?
actor.
He's been in House of Cards, Baby Mama, We Were Soldiers, You've Got Mail. I mean, on and on and on.
What's the one with Jack Nicholson?
Yes. And Helen Hunt.
Yes. Fantastic.
Yes, as good as it gets.
As good as it gets.
Fantastic
Really great movie.
Yeah.
He was really good in that.
Yeah, so, we stumbled around that for 10 minutes last time.
Greg Kinnear there. And he looked like Dick Vermeil, too.
Yeah, people were screaming, I'm sure. We talked a little bit about mead.
Yes.
And no, I did not. This isn't where I bring out some mead and we try it, although I should have.
No, I don't. I'm glad. I don't really like, one of the title of this, if you obviously you've seen the title of this particular podcast, has a reference to eggnog in it. And I'm glad you didn't bring out any eggnog.
Oh, I hate eggnog so much.
Well, one of the things about eggnog that's so bad is that it's so rich and it's already Christmas and you're going to eat a lot of heavy food.
Listen, keep your milk away from a booze. All right?
I'm with you
Those
there.
two things should never mix.
Right.
Ever.
So you're not a, what's the...
White Russian?
White Russian.
I wish I was, because apparently it's cool. But no, I'm not doing that. I'm not having a vodka and milk.
I agree with you. Milk and alcohol. It seems just like a horrendous mix. Now, maybe it's good because maybe it's coating your stomach. I don't know.
Yeah, it cuts down on the heartburn. That's
But
a good point.
I don't know. No. Not a White Russian guy. Not an eggnog guy.
It's the smell of eggnog is just absolute.
I mean, the idea of it is festive, and you see it, and you're like, oh, good.
But why?
And then I think part of the allure of it is probably just the fact that people who ordinarily might not tipple might have an eggnog, with a little, and they can't really taste the alcohol, and then
Yeah, so Aunt Edna gets a little
giddy,
worked up,
little giddy. Yeah, I was always, I always was very tempted. I went to countless church events where they had the church event punch.
Yep,
which generally was just some kind of fruit juice and Sprite, and then some kind of frozen thing in the middle.
Oh, they had like an ice float thing in the
middle.
middle.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. So I saw that a million times. And these people are all, God-fearing folk, These were fundamentalist gatherings. And, boy, I was so tempted so many times to just slip just some, because that was a pretty flavorful punch. You could probably get away with...
Yeah, a little Everclear.
Yeah, and it's just that they couldn't really taste it, but they wouldn't have needed much anyway. I never did it. I have to say I would fess up if I did, but I sure did think about it.
There's a great Robert Earl Keen song about spiking the punch with Everclear at a Baptist revival.
Perfect.
And it is hilarious. It's a hilarious song. You should look that up. Anyway, so you want to know what mead? How you make mead?
Yes, I do. I'm curious.
Okay, so if you were going to make hooch,
right,
what would you be fermenting? If you're making jailhouse wine,
potatoes or what?
You're normally, I think, not that I would know, they would use just like fruit juice, just like fruit punch or something, right?
Right.
Well, for mead, you would use honey. So they ferment honey and they add water, and that's mead.
Boy, it tastes sort of, in my memory of it, it has sort of a prune-like taste.
Well, that's the problem with mead is that people put crap in it, okay? So they like to put herbs and spices and, stuff like that in it. And so it's a very, remember a few years ago on the Bud Light commercials, it was like very, like the pretentious guy was ordering mead or whatever.
Right, yes.
And I think that's because it's sort of it can be a pretentious drink because, this has, eucalyptus in it or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And also I think it was associated with the royalty.
I think monks too, right?
Very strange thing that the monks were so important in coming up with alcohol drinks. But I understand it if you're a monk.
Hey, listen, you know why the monks were so important? It's because in the Dark Ages, when science wasn't okay, the human race still needed people that knew how to do things. And monks, because it was religious, they were allowed to do things like beekeeping and fermenting and making alcohol and making beer and things like that without being heretics.
And they had plenty of time.
And they had lots of time on their hands.
Lots of time on their hands.
And all that church
and
money.
It wasn't the devil's workshop.
Let's see here. Oh, celery being a negative calorie food.
Was I correct?
You were not. Well, according to the Mayo Clinic,
Okay.
There are no scientific studies that show that negative calorie foods exist.
Okay.
And that it is at this point, an unproven theory of diet makers or whatever, people that come up with diets. So it's possible it could be, they just don't know yet.
But it's referenced, so it's thought of as something that people like me say.
Yes.
That
They definitely knew.
It takes more energy for your body to. That's what I always heard. It takes more work for your body to actually process the celery than there actually are calories in it.
Yeah, and they said it's theoretically possible. It's just never been proven.
Okay.
So there you go.
Nobody bothered.
Yeah, what are we doing here?
What a waste of time.
Pimento cheese. We talked about pimento cheese on celery, right? Because that's what my wife's family does.
It's an American thing, yes.
So this happens all the time to me. We get together and have this little discussion.
Right.
And then I just run into things about what we talked about in the zeitgeist. It's hilarious. So one of my favorite podcasts came out with an episode on pimento cheese the other day. It's fascinating, the history of pimento cheese. And also, the original recipe I would have liked a lot more than what it's turned into now. Originally, it was pimento peppers mixed in with cream cheese.
Right.
And that, I can maybe get behind that. Cream cheese is pretty fantastic, right?
Yes, I totally agree with that.
But now, it's cheddar cheese, and it's mayonnaise, and what else do they put in? Pimentos, and some other things.
What's in the one that everybody, no doubt, uses? In the can?
Yeah, in the can stuff. And in the South, it's mayonnaise and cheddar and like a bunch of other things now. It used to be a very simple cheese. It was cream cheese with pimento peppers in it. And I can get behind that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Actually.
And the other thing I didn't know.
Sounds way better.
Yes, way better. The other thing I didn't know is in the South, everybody has a family recipe for pimento cheese.
Oh.
Like they make it. You know.
My mom makes some pimento cheese to die for.
It's like they make it themselves. I don't know. That was it struck me as strange. Maybe it doesn't strike you that way.
I don't know what the derivation or whatever in the New England thing, but I never really went anywhere to another gathering where it wasn't the egg salad and cheese. That was the thing of choice.
Egg salad and celery.
Celery. I mean, egg salad and celery. Yeah.
Sorry. Egg salad is so gross. Okay.
Not really.
No, you're an egg salad fan.
It's one of those things. It's another one of those things like bourbon, frozen pizza, beer.
Yeah.
That has just such a wide array of quality. First of all, egg salad again. We've talked about this before in the potato salad realm. Must be mayonnaise. Sometimes I've eaten eggs. I don't eat egg salad very often. Sometimes I'll have it and I'm like, this is great. Why don't I eat egg salad more often? It's awesome. Then I'll get you're stuck, you're driving across, some godforsaken place and it's lunchtime and you really want to have something that maybe is half decently healthy or sorta, kinda.
Yeah.
So you get a convenience store egg salad sandwich.
See, that's gotta always be a mistake.
And that's like the worst idea. The worst.
So when I was growing up, egg salad, which was the last time I tried egg salad.
Oh, so that's like years.
It was Miracle Whip.
Ooh.
Mustard.
That's bad.
Eggs and maybe some vegetables
paprika
or something in
something.
there. Yeah.
Well, that'll swear you off it. The Miracle Whip is maybe the worst product
ever invented. I'll get behind you on that.
I mean, to take a wonderful product like mayonnaise
and
just kill it, just bastardize it. Awful.
Just awful.
Ridiculous. Pathetic.
You were very right on the last podcast. Generally, so if you're listening to this for the first time because it's in a different time slot on Danny's
right in my rotation,
you need to understand that normally he is not right most of the time.
Well, we've been pretty good on the fact check. Maybe not as right as I was this time.
I just don't want people to think that I just sit here and pump you up all the time.
No. I've been proven wrong. Well, I was wrong about the celery.
You were. Well, sort of.
Well, it's just not been proven.
Exactly.
So I still have a
See,
chance.
I would die on that hill. You know me.
like you on
TV.
radio and TV. Right, that one.
Okay, so you were right also, which is another. So I looked this up assuming you were going to be very wrong. Okay. I got an honors degree in history from the University of Kansas. I know my history. I had just listened to an extensive podcast on fallout shelters when that came up in our last podcast. And you were right and I was wrong about the height of the popularity of fallout shelters. By the late 60s, they were like out of...
Oh, yeah.
They were like out of style or whatever.
I think pretty much once the Cuban missile crisis came and went.
Yeah, that's what you'd said. It lasted a little longer than that.
Well, it takes Americans to catch on to many things.
But by
eventually.
I wish everybody out there could see the look on Danny's face when he says that with such disdain. It took till
wearing a mask.
It took till 68
before it was like
for the government to really phase out all of their fallout shelter stuff. Anyway, so a friend of mine got me a real fallout shelter symbol, like one of those signs that are collectibles for Christmas. How about that?
That's very nice. That's that's the kind of cool gift that is just it's offbeat, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sweater.
I'm hard to buy for because when I want something, I just go get it, or I don't want that much.
Or somebody just ends up surprising you with something that you think is kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's always a wonderful.
It was super sweet. She'd heard the podcast and was just thought it was going to be cool.
Did she say where she got it?
eBay.
Oh, well, why did I even ask?
I know. I was going to go steal one.
I know.
I had it all staked out. It'd make a better story, honestly, if it was hanging on the wall down here.
True.
And you were like, where'd you get that? And I said, well,
purloined.
I lifted that.
Purloined this particular.
Purloined.
Yes.
That's a good word.
Thank
one
you.
of those $20 words.
Yeah, that's an old-timey word, too.
What exactly does purloin?
Stealing.
Just stealing?
Yeah.
Gosh, one time we were talking about going to Europe, and my mother-in-law said, she's very silly. And she says, well, you need to have one of those wallets that clips to your belt so that, because you got to be careful over there. You'll get shamrocked and high-hoed before you know it.
What? Now that I don't.
Shamrocked and high-hoed. I'm like, that has got to be racist against Irish people, right? I mean.
Both, sounds like. I didn't know that shamrocked had anything to do with theft.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, it has to be with...
I would think so, yes.
It has to
that
be.
The Irish are going to get after you.
Going to do some shamrocking and high-hoeing.
Like the line from Blazing Saddles. We'll take the N-word and the Jews, but we won't take the Irish.
Oh, it's great. That's great. I changed the Siri on my phone to the Irish version. Did you know you can change the accent of Siri? I didn't.
Wow.
Anyway, I changed it. And so now it's because I'm working on my Irish accent. So I'll be like, call Samantha Lawrence. And she'll be like, calling Samantha Lawrence.
Pretty good. You're doing well.
You like that?
Yeah, I like an Irish accent. I like a Scottish accent. Irish almost never devolves into something that's difficult to understand. Scottish can definitely. And we had Welsh relatives.
Oh, really?
And they came to our home. This was on my maternal grandfather's side. And they came to our home once. And I was young, 6, 7 years old. And they spoke Welsh.
Yeah.
And which isn't even English. And so you couldn't even understand it. But Scottish sometimes.
Johnny Russell starts
talking. It can
talking.
be hard. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You go a little fast or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Or you're watching a movie where the people are Scottish and you're in a theater and they're yammering, a bunch of them getting into an argument. They're like, what? I mean, you really have to concentrate.
Yeah, well, now that we don't have to go to movie theaters anymore.
Well, that's true. That kind of sucks. I thought about that the other day because the last movie I reviewed that I saw in the theater was Parasite, which won the Academy Award. It was the first foreign language film that won the Academy Award.
Yeah. I didn't see that.
Such a fantastic movie. So fantastic that it's got subtitles, and I don't really like going to movies with subtitles. I should not care. And it was like 8 minutes in, I had forgotten that I was reading subtitles.
Really? Now that's a feat.
I mean, it was an awesome movie. Now it's a ride. So if you're going to take my recommendation, this is no. You're not going to the circus here. It's funny. I mean, it's really funny, but then it
Well, I've been
goes dark.
The last couple of weeks. I spent a lot of time with my family.
Yes,
we watched
which is a good thing.
A lot of movies because I was stuck at home for a couple of weeks. And we watched one of the movies we watched with the kids was Apollo 13, which is a
great,
really good movie. It holds up. But I was thinking about you and being an old fart when I'm watching it because there's a scene where Sinise, he doesn't get to go on the flight, and it's after the launch, and he goes over to his phone and he takes his phone off the hook because he doesn't want to be bothered.
Right.
And my kids are like, why can't they get a hold of him? And I had to pause the movie, and I was like, well, kids, it used to be that when you answered the phone, you didn't have a button to push. You just picked it up off the receiver. And I'm explaining how a phone with a receiver works, and they were blown away. So you just take it off you take it off the hook. That's how you turned your phone off.
Right, but then you had to get past the point where it was actually going.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and then we got to talking at work today about party lines. Do you know what a party line is?
Sure. Yes.
My grandparents had a party line on their phone.
For small towns. 4 or 5 people were on it. I guess it was a way to save money or something.
Yeah,
like
I don't know. They didn't.
And there were also people who were renowned for snooping more.
Yes, in my little Mennonite town.
The Snoopy grandmother or whatever. You mentioned movies and watching some movies around Christmas time. Why don't we start there for our next segment if we're done with the fact check?
I love it. We're all done, buddy. All
right, and I'm ready to try a dark Monks, and I am looking forward. This was fabulous, but I always like, what I saw the other day, a limited release of Stella Artois Dark. I'm interested in that.
That would be interesting.
I'm interested
because it's crisp yet dark.
I don't know. Don't know, but I saw it and I said, that looks interesting. Didn't buy it right then. Hope it doesn't go away before I find it again. But we'll talk about some Christmas movie things coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. I just want to thank everybody for supporting local restaurants during this time of uncertainty. 23rd Street Brewery is now open until this pandemic pandemic is over. And right now, more than anything, local restaurants need your help and support. Come on out and see us. 23rd Street Brewery is open now from 11:30 till 9 o'clock for dine-in and carry-out. Whatever we can do to help you out, maybe with your catering needs too. I appreciate all the support, and thank you for continuing to shop local.
Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from wreckexpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit wreckexpert.com and learn more. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, and it's time to on microphone. Start off with a tasty gulp of the Monk's Dark Ale. Oh, you know what? We didn't.
Oh, shoot. After this beer, I will pour a splash of this delicious, I'm sure going to be delicious, Woodford Reserve rye.
Yeah, there you go. Ho, 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 buddy.
You're the best, Danny.
Yeah.
You going to tell the folks what I got you?
Yeah, you got me some cool Ray-Ban sunglasses. We have talked often on this particular podcast more than once about the fact that I would refuse to spend money on sunglasses, and have actually weaned my wife off of it because she loses them. Now, these are nice, and I don't wear sunglasses very often, so I will treat this as a special thing. I will not lose these.
Well, I tell you what, Danny looks like a pretty cool cat in these sunglasses.
That fits. I am a cool cat.
You're a real hep cat, Danny.
Absolutely. And I look especially hep in these Ray-Bans. And one thing, I said this to you, they just never have quite replicated the John F. Kennedy Ray-Bans, which to me are the best-looking Ray-Bans I've ever seen. Now, these right here are close.
Now, I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, that's a good fact check or Dr. whatever, Doctor Who. You said he's the man who can purloin anything that's difficult to find, because those, I think, they're just a little less round.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm a sunglasses nerd. I think they
and
might
you know how cool John Kennedy looked in those.
I know. I think they might be flat front. And
Maybe.
They just brought back flat fronts 2 years ago, maybe. So,
but these are sweet. I'm very excited.
Well, you look great, Danny.
They will rotate with the only sunglasses I wear, because I never the sun doesn't bother my eyes.
Yeah, I know. You've told me.
So I've never really worn sunglasses, but my daughter got me a pair that are very similar to this, but they have wood, whatever you call
sides
them.
on them?
Temples,
yeah.
Yeah, they're cool. So
super
this
cool.
will rotate with those, and look at this swanky case and everything. I don't know if it's Woodford Reserve, but it's a good present.
Okay.
Before we do the movies,
I
did share this with you, and this is I think a thing that's can be fun for people. Is, like I said, I'm writing a blog. It probably will be next Wednesday's Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday about embracing things because it's been such a horrible year. And I just started making a list of things I liked, because I don't really like the song My Favorite Things, but it was sort of an inspiration for this particular. And literally, I'm not done with the blog yet, but I literally already have about 200 things. And I think it would be an exercise.
Sorry, I was pouring bourbon here. It's things that you like.
Yeah, just like my favorite things, like, in the song they talk about, schnitzel with noodles and all these.
Oh, yeah.
Just little things. And so one of them, there's a million of them. So, but it's a fun exercise if you've had, we've all had a bad year. But if you start listing things you really, really like, you're just
I'm 200 in, and I haven't scratched the surface. And then you realize what a blessing it is.
Wow.
A word I hate. But
yeah, this is a lot coming out of you.
Anyway, one of them was hearing a song that you haven't heard in forever that is really a cool song. And I shared one with you since the last podcast, and it was this song called Dreams I'll Never See by Molly Hatchet. It's not a famous song. I heard it on Deep Tracks, which is a great channel on Sirius. But it was the kind of thing you heard back then because they went deep into the albums back in the day.
And I dug
it's from like
in.
that 1978. I literally don't think I've heard the song since then. And it's a great song. And when I heard it, I'm like, damn, that was a great song. And I haven't heard it forever.
Well, then I dug into that band, and I'm like, geez, Louise, how have I never been a fan? That's the thing that's wild to me, is like sometimes I'll come across a band that is a famous band that's everybody loves.
There were a lot of good Southern
just had
rock
a blind
bands.
spot.
There were a lot
them.
of good Southern rock bands.
Yeah.
I mean, there were probably a
that's
couple
my
that you're
type.
familiar with that you're like, well, that, like Black Oak, Arkansas or something.
Oh, you don't care for them?
No, not for me. Because
they do that?
There's too many. There's too many good ones, but like Atlanta Rhythm Section, which really isn't a Southern rock band, but is considered one. That's a fabulous band.
I don't know.
You
might need to send me a list.
You need to fact check that.
What was it again?
Atlanta Rhythm Section. It was a bunch of famous session musicians who got together and made an album, kind of like Toto.
They were session musicians.
Yeah, they were all session musicians. That's how they came together.
Like Africa, that song Africa? Is that Toto?
Yeah, that's Toto.
Really?
Yeah, they were famous, very famous session musicians, and they got together and did an album.
Huh. Did you see, what was that song you said earlier? Few of My Favorite Things? Is that the song you were talking about earlier?
From The Sound of Music.
Yes. Did you see SNL over the weekend?
No, I did not.
Oh, they did.
Did they do The Sound of Music or something?
No, they did a parody of that song in the cold open. Or not in the cold open, in the monologue. Excuse me. And, man, it was so good. They're, like, singing about some of their favorite things about 2020 or something. I don't remember exactly. And then Kate McKinnon comes out and starts singing the real words. And they're like, no.
Whispers.
Those can't be the real those can't be the real words.
Yeah, I'm not a real fan of the song, but the song was kind of an inspiration for the blog. How's the rye?
It's very smooth.
Is it?
And it's got a back, like a. I hate this.
I hate when people do that.
Yes, but it's got this like mouth. It's got this mouth feel.
With a note of.
It's got a great mouth feel.
So
very good. Thanks, buddy.
So just a little different.
Maybe. Yeah, no, I think it's smoother than the regular Woodford. Okay. Like I could drink this straight for sure.
Well, it's 25% more.
We all know dollars equal.
No, not necessarily. There were a couple. I thought it was, I'm going to really go uptown here, and there were a couple that were like, in Woodford. That's a
nice,
very respected. Yes. I mean, when George Clooney's doing your ads.
Oh yeah, I've been to the distillery. It's very nice.
There were a couple that were double.
Oh yeah,
double the Woodford. There was like an $85 one.
Yeah, I took a couple friends to the AFC Championship game.
Right.
The year I couldn't go last year to the playoffs because I was recovering from that neck surgery, but the year before I took a couple of friends to the playoff games, and I'm not asking you to pay for your ticket, like whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're taking somebody.
I'm taking somebody,
right?
Right? And one of my buddies I took very generously got me a bottle of bourbon that was, more expensive than any bottle of bourbon I would ever.
Right.
Venture to purchase, which was still cheaper than the ticket, I imagine.
You didn't quite make it to
it was so good. So some of the time.
So some of the time you really can, because like my wife drinks Johnny Walker.
Okay.
And she drinks Johnny Walker Red, which is pretty much I think it's the lowest one, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
And there's like 5 of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the top now, I think they've actually put another one on top of the top, but blue's like $200 a bottle.
Well, I can definitely tell the Scotch because I drink Scotch neat. It's warm, it's straight, and with a You know, you get an 18-year, nobody cares. But you get like an 18-year or something, you can really tell the difference.
They're listening to a podcast that's called Thirsty Thursday. Maybe they care. All right, let's get Christmassy here.
Yeah, come on. I thought we were going Christmas.
Yeah, so do you have family favorites for
Yes,
Christmas?
We do.
Okay.
Every year when we put the tree up, we put on Christmas Vacation,
All right.
which is by far my favorite Christmas movie. And it is one of those things that I had a blind spot for. I didn't really see that movie until I was an adult.
Right.
And which was, 15 years after the movie came out, 10 years after the movie came out. And so I love it so much because I've seen it 100 times, not 1,000 times. You know what I mean?
Right.
I still don't have it memorized. Anyway, love that. And then once that's over, we put Elf on, which we also, Elf
my
is-
wife really, really loves Elf.
Yeah.
And I like Will Ferrell,
Yeah.
but Elf is not one of my favorites.
Well,
I'll say
Will Ferrell's like
But
this
Bob
household's-
Newhart's is one of my favorites, so I like that aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
But my wife likes the movie far more than I do. I'll say that.
Well, look, Will Ferrell is king shit in this household, okay?
I like Will Ferrell.
Because when we were in college, Anchorman came out. My wife and I were in college. Anchorman came out, and we were both improv nerds, and
Right.
that movie was almost entirely off the cuff. Like
Right.
they didn't hardly have. They had like a 15-page script or something. I'll fact check it, but I mean they didn't have a lot of lines pre-written for
Right.
that movie. It's a series of hilarious improvised sketches,
Right.
and so we really just ate it alive. I still have the Blockbuster DVD that we rented and kept.
That's a good thing. Well, that's a good one. So those are right at the top for
So
you.
those are at the top, and then of course, oh boy, howdy, the kids love Home Alone, but
right.
you know what Elf is? Elf is a good mix of heart and hilarity for me,
Right.
And it's got the Christmas feel and all that. There's a love story for the wife.
Yeah, I like it.
So anyway, but just thinking about Cousin Eddie in that Dickie that you can see through the.
I lived in the Dickie era.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Dickie. I still do, but I use it in a different way. But it was kind of a dumb thing, but you just can't do that. I mean, the Dickie did have a purpose.
Yeah.
If you had a red, a red shirt or a dark shirt and a Dickie, fine. You couldn't even tell.
Yeah.
You can't wear a yellow shirt with a dark Dickie.
So good. Shitter's full.
Right, I'm
That movie is so great.
Now, it thankfully, I think what we've gotten is to the point where the fabrics got better. So
Yeah.
wearing a turtleneck underneath a shirt, if you still wanted to do it, or under a sweater, is not like
Like
you're gonna
this
be
turtleneck you've got on right here.
I just have a T-shirt.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
And a really cool necklace.
It's a very, very, very hip, Danny.
Yes.
What about you? What's your Christmas movie go-to?
Oh,
Something in black and
they're
white.
They're going to be, yes, of course. But I'll give you a goofy one first. And actually, people can go to my website, and I do it every year, and I repurpose it. I did a Christmas twofer. These are my two really favorite things that I watch every Christmas. And I may go watch, we're doing this in the evening. I may be watching this tonight with my wife, as a matter of fact, because we DVR'd it the other day. And I did put out a social media post urging people to DVR it. It was like 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. But I'll do the goofy one first. I'll save the quality film for a second.
Yeah, okay.
My favorite guilty pleasure Christmas film is Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol. And it is fabulous. Absolutely.
Is it a cartoon?
Yes. It's Mr. Magoo.
Okay.
You are familiar with Mr. Magoo.
I am familiar with Mr. Magoo.
And it's a musical.
Okay.
It's a musical version of A Christmas Carol with Mr. Magoo.
Like A Christmas Carol, like the classic.
Yeah, the classic.
Ghost of Christmas Past.
And it was a very famous television special in the early 60s.
I want to ask you about a television
And it was
special.
done in, so it was in 3 segments. It's a pretend Broadway show that Mr. Magoo is doing, and it's just absolutely wonderful. It's got beautiful songs in it, but it's like 45 minutes, because it's an hour-long television special minus the commercials. And I love it, and I weaned my daughters on it, and literally as adults, when they come over for Christmas, they demand that we watch Mr. Magoo.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So it's really kind of cool. It's sweet, but the real quality here, and also the sort of murky undercurrent that we'll do here is, of course, everyone watches It's a Wonderful Life around Christmas.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it in Topeka at my in-laws because they always put it on.
Which is the second best Jimmy Stewart Christmas movie.
Okay, what's the first?
The Shop Around the Corner, which is an absolutely fabulous film
in my
from
brain.
1940, directed by the brilliant Ernst Lubitsch, who was one of the greatest directors in the history of Hollywood.
I like his name.
Known for the Lubitsch touch.
Is that like a Cosby thing?
He made no. It was his touch as a director. It is actually the movie that was remade as You've Got Mail.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Nope. And it's about...
Is it You've Got Carrier Pigeon?
You've Got a Pen Pal.
Oh, okay.
So it's set in Budapest in...
How is this a Christmas movie?
Well, it's set at Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a Christmas movie the way that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
No, it's more of a Christmas movie than that.
Okay.
But, no, it's not... I would say it's not technically all about Christmas, okay?
Okay.
But neither is It's a Wonderful Life.
No.
Right.
No.
It's a movie with a holiday theme and whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Right. So anyway, it's a really, really cool movie, and if you like You've Got Mail, the plot line's the same. In fact, in You've Got Mail, the bookstore for Meg Ryan that she owns is called The Shop Around the Corner.
Oh, wow. What a great throw.
Right.
You know who is in You've Got Mail? Greg Kinnear.
There you go. We talked about that earlier. Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to ask
so that's
you...
it's a fabulous film, and actually, if you watch any of several other Ernst Lubitsch films, you'll have a wonderful time. But it's and I like It's a Wonderful Life. Don't get me wrong. Donna Reed, maybe the sweetest character in the history of characters. An appealing.
You're not going to like this.
You don't like Donna Reed. You don't like It's a Wonderful Life.
I have napped through It's a Wonderful Life multiple times.
Well,
I'm not sure I've ever actually seen it, post to post.
Seeing as the fact that I have put it a rung below The Shop Around the Corner, it's clearly not my favorite. But anyway, so I those are two recommendations that are a little offbeat, to say the least.
Very good.
And things that you can do on Christmas.
Well, I wanted to do more Christmas stuff. I hope we have enough time. So I wanted to ask you about some of your favorite Christmas memories just over your life, right? Or funny anecdotes.
Let's do a couple quick ones, because we don't want to have people just dozing off like you during It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, well, how about this one? You're not going to doze off during this. All right. So my folks got divorced when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, right?
Right.
And this story's about the day I learned that was probably what was going to happen.
Was this at Christmas?
Yes.
It was Christmas Day?
Okay. So I'm in maybe 2nd or 3rd grade. And we didn't have a whole lot. We grew up pretty sparse. And all my mom wanted was a VCR. She pined for a VCR.
Right.
Okay. So my dad went to the dumpster behind an electronics store and got a VCR box.
Ooh.
He put a brick in it.
Oh, no.
And a pair of $1 slippers and wrapped it. And my mom went there and shook that present every day. Oh, it's my VCR.
Oh, no.
I'm getting my VCR.
This is the worst Christmas story I've ever heard. This is awful.
So the day comes, Christmas Day comes, and she opens this present. And there's the box, and she's glowing. And then she opens the box and pulls out the brick and the slippers. And I thought my dad was going to shit his pants. He was laughing so hard. It was, and I looked around the room and thought to myself, well, things might be changing around.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, my dad is such a sweet man. I've never seen him do this. Is so out of character for him, that you would never see him do anything like this. But to this day, when he tells that story, he can't get through the story without dying laughing.
I'm sure it's a very funny story to him and a very sad story to everyone else. I
thought you would love that story.
No, I do love the story.
Okay.
It's just so cruel. I don't, I love everything about Christmas. I, have had a million Christmas memories. I do like Thanksgiving as a holiday because there's no pressure of any sort, but whatever. I guess one of my best Christmas memories is the fact that when I used to go running on Christmas morning, I could not have anything in my head but Christmas carols.
Oh.
By happenstance. There's no reason that should happen. But when I ran on Christmas, there were only Christmas carols.
All those miles you ran. You didn't run with music.
No, I never ran with headphones or anything else. Ever. Was
that because of the technology barriers?
No. People had Walkmans.
You couldn't drag a phonograph behind you, and
no, I liked. I liked the serenity of it and just letting your mind wander.
What would you do? Would you think about things in your? Because runners
daydream, and eventually I would write sports centers in my head while I was running. But in those particular times, and then sometimes I'm talking about running 50 minutes daily for years.
Yeah.
And no, I never, and to this day, now I work out in front of a television, which is sort of different, but I still like when I ride a bike, I don't put earbuds in or anything else. So.
I thought of you this morning on my way into work because I saw two people running and they looked miserable. And I thought to myself,
I never was miserable.
Running looks miserable.
I do, since it's been so long since I've run on a regular basis, I do some days when it's miserable out, which today it wasn't. I say, well, that was me, and I can't really believe I ran in snow so deep I could, I'm not hardly maneuvering forward. So anyway, we should end on Christmas, on a Christmas note.
I always take us down these wayward
that's all
paths.
right. It's about time to wrap it up, or we'll be doing this podcast till Christmas. So we hope you enjoyed this holiday edition of Thirsty Thursdays. And we wanted to keep it so that you could keep the holiday to yourself, because we know that you would have ruined the holiday by wanting to listen to Thirsty Thursdays. And we hope you had some fun. And let's raise the glass, buddy. Let's raise the glass with the rye. Yeah, there you go. And there we go. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whichever holiday that you, in fact, cherish. All the best.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
NoNonsenseHealthcareNinja.com, specializing in expert healthcare guidance and assistance for you.